إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد عباد الله أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters in Iman, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إن لكل أمة عيدا وهذا عيدنا. That verily for every nation there is Eid, there is a day of feasting and celebrating, and this is our day. This is our celebration day. And we mentioned this many times. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam arrived in Medina, he found Ahlul Medina celebrating or feasting on two occasions in a year. And he told them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has replaced those occasions by the best. And that was Eid Al Fitr and Eid Al Adh-ha. Eid Al Fitr marked the end of Ramadan, which was expected to be the beginning of taqwa. It was just the end of month, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expected us to be minal muttaqeen. And Eid al-Fitr was a beginning of a new journey that will take us to Eid Al-Adh-ha. Because immediately in the month of Shawwal is one of the months of Hajj. It is month of Shawwal, month of Dhul-Qa'dah, and also month of Dhul-Hijjah. And therefore it was Ibadah journey. It never stopped with Ramadan, but it takes us to this level where we are. And the Hajj is not the end of our worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for His ibadah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I created not mankind or jinn except for my worship. And the time and period and duration of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also mentioned in Quran. وَعَبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينِ. And worship your Lord until when death comes to you. And therefore it is a journey. Let us travel it sincerely. Let us come together and travel this journey. Insha'Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help Ummati Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to remember Him and worship Him and glorify Him. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us, to give us strength from weakness. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to direct our hearts and our minds towards His ibadah. أيها الناس إن هذا يوم عظمه الله عز وجل ورفع قدره. Verily, this day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it a great day. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has raised the status of this day. يوم يحيي فيه المسلمون سنة نبيهم إبراهيم عليه السلام. This is a day when Muslims are reviving sunnah, message, way of life, a tradition of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam. بما يقدمونه من الأضاحي. How do we revive this sunnah? One of the most important sunnah is what we are offering of sacrifices. What we are offering of sacrifices. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Safat that Ibrahim alayhi salam woke up in the morning addressing his son that inni ya bunayya inni ara fil manami anni adhbahk fanzur madha tara. I have been shown in a dream, I saw in a dream that I'm slaughtering you. What do you say? What do you think, oh my son? A sincere conversation between father and the son. Now ruqya, or dream of Anbiya, was part of Wahy. That is why he related this to his son. And you can find this obedient son who was raised on the foundations of taqwa Allah. He says, Ya abat, if'al ma tu'mar, satajiduni insha'Allahu min as-sabirin. Oh my father, do whatever you have been commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do. For you, for sure, you will find me among as-sabirun, among those who are patient, tolerant, and perseverant. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam had laid him down, ready to slaughter him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَنَادَيْنَاهُ أَيَّ إِبْرَاهِيمُ قَدْ صَدَّقْتَ الرُّؤْيَا. We called Ibrahim alayhi salam, informing that it was just a test, and you have passed our test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Thus do we reward al-muhsinun, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. And we replaced Ismail alayhi salam with a great sacrifice as a gift and graduation for Ibrahim alayhi salam. Brothers, it is this that we are celebrating. This today is known as Yawm al-Hajj al-Akbar. This day is known as Yawm al-Nahar. We are following Sunnah of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَمَنْ يَرْغَبَ عَنْ مِلَّةِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِلَّا مَنْ سَفِهَ نَفْسَهُ وَلَقَدِ اصْطَفَيْنَاهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَإِنَّهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ لَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ قَالَ أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And whosoever turns away, whosoever claims faith, but at the same time he turns away from the millah of Ibrahim, except that he befools himself. You cannot claim faith and turn away from the millah of Ibrahim alayhi salam, one of which is slaughtering and sacrificing animals. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدِ اصْطَفَيْنَاهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا. Verily we chose him in this dunya. Ibrahim was not just chosen as a president. He was not just chosen as a prophet, but he was chosen as ummah. Inna Ibrahima kana ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifan wa lam yakun minal mushrikeen. Shakiran li an'umihi ijtabahu wa hadahu ila siratil mustaqim. Ibrahim was chosen to the highest level that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called him the whole ummah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illa Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamd. Respected brothers and sisters, this day is known as Yawm al-Tabhiyah wa Yawm al-Fida. This is a day of sacrifice. Ibrahim alayhi salam didn't just sacrifice his son. He was ready to follow the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, if somebody tells you, slaughter your son, we will definitely be hesitant. That was Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a son until when he was very old. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is blessing him with the first one, who is Ismail. And after some years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him, now I want to take away the apple of your heart, the love of your heart. He never hesitated. This indicates how we should be submissive to the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without hesitating, without doubting. And now he wants to slaughter his son. This also sends a message on how sons should behave towards their parents. When father told the son, I have to slaughter you, he never told him that, no, you are not that smart. You are not that clever. He never argued, because he knew that his father intended good for him, and therefore he said, oh my father, do what you have been commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do. You will find me among those who are patient. Sons, let us be patient with our fathers, and our mothers, let us be patient with our parents. Anas ibn Malik says, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ضحى, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم sacrificed كبشين أقرنين أملحين ذبحهما بيده الشريف, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم sacrificed 2 lambs or 2 sheep. These sheep had horns. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself slaughtered them or sacrificed them with his own hand. This takes us back to whoever intends to sacrifice. It is sunnah that you slaughter yourself. If you can't, there is no problem, somebody else can slaughter it for you. Also, sunnah of slaughtering is that once you slaughter, you eat from it. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left the musalla, went and slaughtered, and as soon as he slaughtered, he was the first one to eat a portion from it. This is sunnah of Anbiya, this is sunnah of Ibrahim, this is sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that man dhabaha qabla an yusalli falyu'id makanaha ukhra, that whoever slaughters before salah, let him repeat slaughtering after salah. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَذْبَحْ فَلْيَذْبَحْ, and whoever did slaughter before salah, then it is become obligatory, incumbent or highly recommended upon him to slaughter. And therefore this is the general ruling according to mafhum of hadith, that we can only slaughter after Salatul Eid. Brothers, لا ينال الله لحومها ولا دماؤها ولكن يناله التقوى منكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of his creation. And especially when you slaughter, do not think that I'm going to waste money, or maybe I need to spend $50 instead of $100. If you have it, slaughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want. He's not going to get meat. He's not going to get blood or bones from this. But what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you for your own benefit is يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ, is the piety and righteousness that comes from your heart, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded you and you sacrifice. Brothers and sisters in Islam, having known this, this is a day of forgiveness. This is a day of happiness. This is a day of celebration. This is a day that families need to come together and forgive one another. This is a day when brotherhood needs to be strengthened. This is a day when unity needs to be strengthened. This is a day of dhikrullah. This is a day of glorifying Allah. This is a day of ibadah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ayyamu tashriq, ayyamu aklin, wa shurbin, wa dhikrin lillah. That the days of tashriq, of course, 3 days after Eid, are days of eating and drinking and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us not forget that as we are celebrating and planning to slaughter, that our brothers all over the world are going through a lot of difficulties. Right from Philistine, to Syria, to Egypt, to Afghanistan and Pakistan, to Burma, to Africa and Somalia and Sudan, among many, many, many countries where we all know and we are coming from. Let us try our best first to make dua for them. Let us make dua for our brothers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relieve them from this. And secondly, let us donate kindly always. Whatever you have, they are in need of it. Wallahi, $1 may not be anything here. $1, $5 may be a tip, but $1 may feed a family elsewhere. Let us open our heart to sacrifice whatever we can sacrifice to help our brothers. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us that whoever relieves his brother or his sister from the difficulties and hardships of this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also relieve him from the difficulties and hardship of the day of Qiyamah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to join our hearts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our hearts to help our brothers wherever they are. On the 10th day, Abdullah ibn Abbas says that خطبنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم النحر. But the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم addressed us on the day of slaughtering, sacrificing animals. And he asked us a question. أيها الناس أي يوم هذا? He asked again, أي بلد هذا? He asked again, أي شهر هذا? Do you know which day is this? Do you know which city is this? Do you know which month is this? And they say, this is a sacred day, in a sacred month, in a sacred city, city of Makkah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then told them, that فَإِنَّ دِمَاءَكُمْ وَأَمْوَالَكُمْ وَأَعْرَاضَكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ حَرَامٌ كَحُرْمَةِ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا فِي بَلَدِكُمْ هَذَا فِي شَهْرِكُمْ هَذَا. He said that verily your blood and your wealth and your honor and dignity is inviolable, is haram amongst one another. Just like the sacredness of this place, this day and this month. فَرَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ وَقَالَ. Then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam raised his head and he said, Allahumma hal ballagtu, Allahumma hal ballagtu. Oh Allah, have I not conveyed? Oh Allah, have I not conveyed? And then he told Sahaba, لِيُبَيْنَ الشَّاهِدْ الْغَائِبِ. Let those who are present here convey this message to those who are absent. And then he told them, لَا تَرْجِعُوا بَعْدِي كُفَّارًا. Do not return as disbelievers after me. Rasul knew that he had to die. إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُ مَيِّتٌ. You, Muhammad, will for sure die, and also your followers and human beings, all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also die. So he told them, do not go back to kufr. يَضْرِبُ بَعْضُكُمْ رِقَابَ بَعْضٍ. To the extent that some of you will smite and cut off the necks of one another. It is very sad that there are a lot of killings now. There are a lot of killings from some enemies of Islam, but also there is a lot of killings from a Muslim killing another Muslim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take that from our heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replace it with love. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replace it with protecting blood, protecting honor and dignity of one another. I want to conclude by the following points. What should we do today? Is going to slaughter. Make sure that you don't slaughter an animal with defects. When you slaughter, divide these into 3 portions. Your portion, sadaqah, and also a gift. Now that we are slaughtering, suppose you can't find an animal today. Are you done? No. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that all days of Tashriq, which means today and the 3 days after today until Jum'ah, all these days you can slaughter in them. What should you slaughter? You can slaughter a camel and the age is 5 years and above. You can also slaughter or sacrifice a cow and the age is 2 years and above. You can also slaughter a goat and the age is 1 year and above. And you can also slaughter sheep or lamb and the age is 6 months and above. فَمَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ, that is just sadaqah min sadaqah that you wanted to slaughter. Chicken is not mentioned, I mentioned that, and therefore let us follow sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wallahi, when you slaughter, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, فَإِنَّ الدَّمَ, verily the blood that you shed from this animal, لَا يَقَعُ مِن مَكَانٍ لا يقع عند الله بمكان قبل أن يقع بالأرض. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is accepting that blood before it touches even the ground. And therefore it's not all about what even you are giving, but consider the importance of this day. Because some of us say that, don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted, give it importance. Brothers, few things. One, we need to revive brotherhood and unity amongst the ummah. We are brothers. We never met on the basis of color and race and ethnicity. We meet on the basis of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains that in Surah Al-Hujurat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha, wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu, inna akramakum 'inda Allahi atqakum, inna Allaha 'alimun khabir. O mankind, verily I created you from Adam and Hawa, and I made you into different nations and tribes that you may know each other, just for identity. No tribe in this masjid is better than another tribe. I am better than you. Don't reason like that. No status. When it comes to ibadah, we are all slaves and servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, we have to understand that. The most honorable of all of us, the competition should be taqwallah. How much do we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And therefore, brotherhood and unity is a necessity. It is a necessity amongst us. Are we brothers? Yes. Are we united? Yes. Let us move together, inshallah, through that. Second point, it is high time, and especially when we are living in the West, that we revive love of Allah, love of Rasul, and love of our deen. Love of Allah, love of Rasul, and love of our deen, and it has to be manifested through our practice. We have to be practical Muslims. I said many times that some of us are now changing names. We are changing names. Not only from Omar to O. Not only from this, but we even went to Emmanuel now, Gonzela. Wallahi. The name of Muhammad, the name of Abdullah, the name of Abdul Qayyum to Gonzela. Why? No, I feel shy. I'm not going to make business if I call myself Shafi. We have reduced ourselves. So when we talk of Islamophobia, we are the phobia ourselves. Please, brothers, وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Honor and respect is with Allah, with His Messenger and the believers. وَلَكِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Why are you feeling shy when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon you the greatest blessing, and it is blessing of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah? Love Allah, love the Messenger, love your deen, and be a practical Muslim. We don't have a lot of excuses in the West here. We impose those fear on ourselves. Wallahi, when people see you like this on the road, they admire you, they want to take a photo. Secondly, number 3, brothers, is da'wah. What have you done since you came to America? What is your obligation? Did you talk to some non-Muslims? Did you say that I want to sacrifice one day to remind my brother in Islam who has not been in the masjid to come to the masjid? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought you in America for a reason. Not only for economic reasons, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought you here لِإِعْلَاءِ كَلِمَةِ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ Muhammadur Rasulullah. Therefore ask yourself, how can I participate in da'wah, reminding and inviting and teaching Muslims? At the same time, how are we going to invite non-Muslims, or at least introducing Islam to them? It is our duty here. It is our duty, and I'm reminding. Number 4 is the issue of kids and youth and women. It is high time that we empower them with Islamic knowledge. We empower them with akhlaq and etiquettes. We empower them economically within the boundaries of Sharia. You know, brothers, that the environment is not very good. America is a land of opportunity. America is a land of enchantment. But you know for sure that we are crying, most of us, because we cannot even determine the future of our kids. It is a blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon you. It is mas'uliyah, it is responsibility. وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask each one of us about your kids. We have at least 2 madaris, but the attendance has been reported and it is very less. Bring your kids at least to the masjid to study their deen. Just like we make effort to send them to school to be doctors and engineers, bring them to study Quran and fiqh and tawheed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it a means of earning His reward and His pleasure on the day of Qiyamah. Therefore, let us empower our sisters, let us empower our kids and also youth. Another area is, it is high time that we become part of our community development. Subhanallah, this area, history reveals that it was 1 person and then 2 and then 5. Jum'ah could be performed by 10 people or 12. Today, I'm telling you again that this masjid is small. The community needs to start thinking of expanding the masjid. The masjid is small. Elders came here without wives. They are married. They have kids and now they are raising grandkids. We need to grow with this growth. How can we build our own community? How can we contribute? That is why we begged you many times, brothers, money, 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 money. The community is growing and we have no option except standing in front of you to involve you in developing your own community. And the best that can help us is to move towards self-sustainable projects. We need to be self-sustainable. We don't need to stand in front of you and say lies. No. We don't need to say that we are running the masjid or the center through deficit. And it's not all about the masjid. Alhamdulillah, many things are happening around the masjid. Sadaqat, abna'u sabil, people who are passing by. Fuqara are being helped. Alhamdulillah, we are in the best situation. We are in the best position, but I really want you to be part of developing this community. Lastly, is each one should ask himself that I should not be among those who witness things happening. I should ask myself as to what have I sacrificed for this deen. It's not what people are doing, brothers, but it is what you are doing. How are we going to serve our communities in America? And how are we going to serve American community in general? How are we going to give back? And how are we going to redirect the work? Wallahi, I believe that Muslims in America can redirect all the rest of the Islamic world. Because we have right from doctors to engineers to businessmen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened many doors for us. It is a matter of unity. It is a matter of promoting development. It is a matter of promoting education. It is a matter of understanding our deen and iman and taqwa. The whole world is looking upon us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you brothers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connect our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relieve Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from all difficulties. I have 2 announcements before I make dua. The first announcement is Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Kullu ibn Adam khatta'un. Every son of Adam makes mistake, is a sinner. وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ. But the best of sinners is he who repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asks for forgiveness. If we wronged you in any way, forgive us. Allow me to mention the name of the family. Garba's family is one of the beloved family in our community. They have been participating, they are part of this community. Few days ago, we have a nephew called Anas. I called him and promised that I would allow him to lead Salatul Jummah. After some consultations, I realized that it is sunnah that when Khatib gives khutbah, he also leads Salah. And then I informed him that he would lead Salah at Isha, not that he will not lead Salah. My mistake was I should have contacted the family a bit earlier, few hours before. But this didn't happen. That is my mistake. I know they are offended as to why that happened, why we didn't fulfill the promise. I ask you for the sake of Allah, find a place in your heart, family, forgive me for the sake of Allah. I should have contacted you early. We love you. This masjid is not based on Arab. It is not based on Africa. It is not based on Pakistan. We don't segregate any tribe. We are serving Ummati Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Let no one of us think that he is offended. Wallahi, forgive us for the sake of Allah. Forgive us for the sake of Allah, especially me. Forgive me for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, we are going to make announcement, inshallah. We are going to fundraise today for the land. We have the land. You can see all our cars are now parking safely, no tickets. And inshallah we need some money, so I'm going to fundraise after Salah. Forgive us for the sake of Allah. If the center owns you, we will make a lot of improvements, right from the board and the community and people involved. Allahumma rabbana atina fi dunya hasana وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم أحقن دماء المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم أحقن دماء المسلمين اللهم أحقن دماء المسلمين اللهم اصرف عنا السوء بما شئت وكيف شئت إنك على كل شيء قدير يا نعم المولى ويا نعم النصير غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم رب يسر لنا ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح القلوب يا بديع العجائب بالخير علمنا بفضل قدرتك اللهم لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل كل شيء سهلا فسهل لنا لما نريد نجنا مما نخاف بفضلك يا لطيف ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تقبل الله منا ومنكم Eid Mubarak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with a blessed Eid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brothers, we are fundraising for the land. We are fundraising right now for the land.
If you don't see me, I will be going to the place where the brother will come, and then I will look for the